Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we'll focus on H5P Game Map activity, and we'll be looking at the game map structure, creating interactive game maps, designing engaging learning experiences, the assessments and feedback within the game map activity, as well as how to integrate it into our learning management system, which is Moodle. Let me show you what a game map looks like, and then I'll show you how to develop or how to design a game map activity. Okay, so this is a game map activity. You'll see the background there is like a treasure map. And then we have the little bubbles here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you'll see the first one is unlocked, whilst the rest is still locked. So the learner needs to start here at number 1. So they hover over it, click on it, and a pop-up can appear, or a video can play, or a presentation can play. They can go through the presentation. Okay, so once the student completes the first stage, he moves on to the next stage, which is number 2. You can then click on that, and again it's a little presentation which you can go through. And then once he's done, that stage is now finished. You can move on to the third stage, click on it, look at the video or look at the presentation or do the interactions, close it, and then move on to the last stage, which is basically a drag and drop activity or a drag and drop quiz, where they need to drag the integers to the correct places. So let's drag it to the incorrect places. Let's just see what happens. Okay, I'll click on check, and there you see I've scored 0 out of 5. I click on continue, and now it still shows me that it isn't completed. So let's retry that activity. I'll retry that, and now let's do the correct options, -3 and 3, and then check. Okay, so there's all correct, 5 out of 5. I click on continue, and now you'll see all the stages are complete, and there's a little you achieved full score, and you can even have a banner here popping up. So this is what the game map activity, the H5P game map activity looks like, and you can include any interaction within the game map activity. Okay, so let me show you how this is done. First, we need to create a course. So let's go to Site Administration. Click on Courses, and then click on Manage Courses and Categories. We'll create a new course, but in the Moodle category. If you don't have a Moodle category, just don't worry. Create a Moodle category by clicking on Create New Category. Name your category, and then okay, so let's create a one that you can follow. Let's create one. So I'll create one here called H5P and Moodle. Okay. So if I remove this and select top, it will be in my top category. But if I want to place it in my Moodle category, I can select Moodle. Okay. So I'll click on top. So now it will be the top category, H5P and Moodle. I can provide a category ID number for filter purposes, but I'll leave it as is for now. And force theme, I don't want to force a theme. I'll click on Create Category, and now my new category is created. Okay, so now I can click on that category, and I can create a course within that particular category. So let's click on Create New Course, and we'll call this H5P Activities in Moodle. Okay, so we'll be creating H5P activities within Moodle. I'll just copy that and paste it in the course short name. For now, I will hide the course. Since I will be creating activities, I will hide the course. I'll scroll down and leave everything on its default, but I'll choose here the tiles format. If you don't have the tiles format, just go to moodle.org and download the tiles format plugin and install it. More on that on a later video. Okay. Under progress on each tile, I want to show the percentage. That's just showing completion of the particular tile element. Okay. Under appearance, I don't want to force a theme here. And under completion tracking, I make sure that enable completion tracking is yes, enabled, and show activity completion conditions on yes. I won't be using groups, role renaming, or tags. Okay, so click on save and display. And now here's my course. Okay. So let's create our first activity. And remember, we're focusing on the game map activity, H5P game map activity. So I'll click on add an activity or resource. If you can't select this, make sure that editing is turned on. So you'll see here, I can't do anything, but once I click edit mode, I'm now able to add an activity or resource. I'll click on add an activity or resource, then I'll click on interactive content. Remember, if this isn't installed, make sure you go to moodle.org and download and install the H5P interactive content. I have a video on this appearing now, so just click on the screen and it will take you to how to install the interactive content. I'll click on that. I'll wait till it completely loads, and then here's all the H5P content types. You'll see that there's the names of the activities or the content types, and I'll choose the game map activity. If you scroll down, you'll see there are all these activities. Once you see an activity and you see update available, just click on details and then click on update, and that will update that particular activity. Okay, so let's just go back. We'll be using the game map activity. If you want to read more on that, click on details and it will give you information on that, and you can read more. You can even look at the demo content. Okay, I'll click on the game map and now it will open. Okay, so what I've shown you in the beginning of this video is a video or an activity on integers. So I'll just call this integers. And I want to show the title screen. So I'll select that. And here I can specify what the students need to see in the introduction. In the introduction, I can specify certain instructions for the students to follow, or I can leave this unchecked. Okay, so we'll provide an introduction. So what I'll do is I'll go to H5P, to the H5P website. I'll just scroll to the game activity. There's my game activity, and I'll just copy this as my introduction there. I'll copy that, I'll go back and I'll paste it in here. Okay, so there's my introduction. Then in the introduction, do you want a title screen media like an image or a video? You can include that. Okay, since this is for students and I want to show students how to use this activity, how to set it up, how to create it, I can also add a demonstration video within the introduction. Okay, I'll leave that as is for now. I can add a headline. The headline will be the integers. Okay, and now the important part, the background image. Okay, if you want to add a background image, you need to create a background image. But if you want to download a background image, you can either go to Canva or you can go to Pexels, or just download a treasure map from Google. Okay, so I'll go to Canva and I'll search here for a treasure map. Press enter, and here you'll see there are different treasure maps. I'll use this one here. I'll click on that. And then I'll click on customize this template. I can also scroll down to search for another template, but I'll use this one. Click on customize this template. Then since I'll only be using, no thanks, I'll only be using 4, so it's 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'll remove the other ones, so I'll remove 2 here, and then I'll remove 5 and 4 and 7 and 8. So I'll remove that. Once I've removed that, I'll click on download, and I'll make sure that it's a PNG. Make sure the size is correct. I'll leave everything on its default, and I'll click on download. This will download to my downloads folder. If I want to change anything here, I can change the background to maybe blue. I can change the text color to a color that I like, or I can even change the font size or the font type here. Okay, even the instructions here. Okay, so now that I've downloaded this, I can go to my activity again. I can click on add background. So here I've stored my background image. So I'll click on that image and I'll click on open, and this will immediately add the image to my back to the background image. I can click on it just to see if it's the correct image, or I can replace it. Okay, I can edit this image here. So if I want to crop this out, I can crop it out, or if I want to rotate it either to the right or to the left, I can rotate the image. Okay, that's about it. I click on save once I'm done. And now I need to add the game elements. Okay, so I'll click on game map. And now you'll see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, or 4 stages. Okay, so I need to decide beforehand what I want to include in each stage. Okay, so remember, this is a learning journey for the students. So you need to provide them with either a video here, just describing or telling them what the content is, and actually explaining to them what the concept is that they need to understand. And then you can go deeper and deeper, and then you test their knowledge on that particular content. Okay, so if you want to add a stage, you click on this icon here. So this is the stage icon. You click on that, you'll see it immediately opens this window. Okay, so I'll call this my introduction, and you can call it anything you like. Okay, and the users will start at this stage. So I'll check this. User can start here. Okay, I can set a time limit. So this is optional, but you can set time limits and timeout warnings just to increase the intensity or the level of interaction of the game and of the learning experience. But since this is a learning experience, I don't want to include a time limit, but you can. So maybe if it's a quiz, you can add a time limit, or maybe it's a video they need to watch and then answer questions. You can set time limits and so forth. You can also access the restrictions. So you can say, okay, unlock this if there's a minimum score of, let's say, 50% or whatever. Okay, and then open once score is sufficient. More on that later. Then the stage content. What will the stage content be? And this is important. Okay, click the drop down list, and now you'll see there are various activities, and these are all H5P activities that you can choose from. You can add to your map. Okay, for now, for my introduction, I'll use the image slider. I'll click on that. I can specify a name here, but for this video I'll leave it on image slider. The title of the image, I can specify the title of the image. Okay, usually I just copy and paste the introduction here, and I paste it for the title as well as for the image slide. Okay, so now I can add my introductions. Okay, so I'll click on add image. Then I'll go to my first set of images. I'll click on what the learners first need to see. They first need to see this image or this screen or this slide. I can edit the image again. I need to add alternative text, and this is to make it more accessible. Okay, so if you have blind students and they use a screen reader, the screen reader will pick up the alternative text or the alt text. Okay, so I'll use this as, I'll say this is my introduction to integers. Okay, let's just okay. Then I can also have a hover over text, and this is optional. When I hover over it, it will show me what the text is. Okay, so this is my first slide. Then I add my second slide. Okay, I'll add my second slide from the list here. Open, and then it will add the slide. I can add some alternative text, and I'll copy this again. Remember, you need to specify here and make it accessible, your content, to either blind students or students with other disabilities. So please do make your content accessible to all students. Okay, add an item. I'll click on add, and I'll add the third one. So there's my third one. I'll just paste my alt text in there, and then my fourth one. There's my fourth one. I'll just add it in here. And now my sixth one, I'll add, it's 4, 5, fifth one, okay, it's that one there. Okay, I'll just add that there. Okay, let's leave that one. If you want to remove something, so I've added image here. Let's say I've added this one here. If you've mistakenly added an image that you don't need, you can just click on the X to remove the file, and it will completely remove that file. But now you're sitting here with a slide, layout. You also need to remove the slide layout. Okay, so you click on that, remove item, and that will remove the slide item. Okay, now I'm happy with my 5 slides, or my 5 slides. I'm happy. Now I can go to my settings. I can go back to my background by clicking on this, and it will take me back to my background. But for now, I'm done with this. So I click on done. So there, my first level, or my first stage. But now it adds the marker here. So I need to drag the marker to my number 1. Okay, so that's my first. You can use the up and the down arrows just to center it by just eyeballing that center. Okay, if you want to go back into the slides, you just double click on it and it will go back. Or let's just scroll down. If you hover over it, you'll see, if you click on it, you'll see there's a pencil icon. Just click on it and you will be taken to that same screen. If you want to remove it completely, you click on remove. Okay, edit. I go to my editing mode of that particular content. When I'm done editing, I click on done, and then I'm back here, my content. Okay, now we need to add the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, and then we'll play with the stages, with the end screen, the visual settings, the audio settings, the behavioral settings, the text override. So let's add our second stage. Okay, if you want to click the second stage, you click on the stage icon here. It will open this one, and my second stage will be, I'll just call this integers content. It's just for this video. I've spelled integers incorrectly. So now I can't tick this box because now I already have a starting stage. Okay, so this will be my second stage. I can set a time limit for this stage, and now I can set access restriction. If I want students to view, or if you added a pre-test to the first content and you want students to obtain a 80% in that pre-test, you set the minimum score to unlock, you set it here to 80, and then open one score is sufficient. Okay, so remember, I showed you the locks in the beginning, so you can unlock by setting an access restriction on the first content. So let's say the first content was a pretest, like I've mentioned before. You can set a minimum score. Okay, now for the stage content, what will you add to the stage content? Remember, we can choose any one here. Okay, I'll choose a course presentation for this one. Okay, so once I've chosen the course presentation, this will open. Okay, and now I can add my course presentation. I can remove that. Okay, I want to add an image. So I'll click on image, I'll click on add, and I'll go and fetch the image. I'll add this one here. Okay, so that's my first image. I'll add some alt text here. So I'll just copy this. I'll add it. Remember, this is only for demonstration purposes. You need to make sure that you add your alt text here so that the content is accessible. So please. Okay, I can add some comments here. Always display comments. I can tick this box. Background opacity. I can set the background opacity and display as a button. I can select this. I'm happy with this image, so I'll click on done. So there's my first image. I can then drag it across just to increase the size. So I'm happy with that there. Okay. Remember, you can also add this as a background. So let me show you that. If I remove this, I can click on it and then click on remove. If I want to edit this, I can edit this. So I'll click on remove and it will remove the image completely. If I want to add it as a background, I don't choose image. At the bottom here, you'll see my first option here is add a new slide. Second one is clone slide. Third one is slide background. I'll use this option. I'll click on that and now this pop-up appears. Make sure that it's not a color fill, but the actual image background. Also, the drawback here is that if you use an image as a background, it usually blurs the image, and you will see now. Okay, so let's click on add an image. I'll go fetch that particular image. I'll open it and it will add that image to my, you can see immediately it's blurred out here. I can see it's blurry there also. I can see it's blurry. Okay, I can close this. If I only want to use the background for this particular slide, I don't use the image background option. I can remove this there. I use this slide. Okay, so not the template, but the slide. And then it will only add the background to that particular slide. Okay, so let's add it. So that's the difference. You can either add it to the template or you can add it to this particular image. Okay, then I'm done with this. So it will add that to the background of my first slide. And I know I'm on my first slide here. So let's add another slide. So I'll click on the plus here, add a new slide. Then I'll click on slide background. And then again, I'll select this slide and choose another background. Okay, I'll select the second one and click OK. Okay, so there's my second one. I'll close this and I'm done. You can see how blurry it is. Okay, but we'll leave it for now. But now, in subsequent videos, I'll show you how to add actual quizzes to this presentation. But for now, this is sufficient. I'll scroll down under behavior settings. I can choose activate the surface mode, hide summary slide, override social nuisance, etc. I can choose here to enable or disable, but let's leave everything as is for now. I'll click on done. So I'm done with that now, and I'll drag it to my second. This is my second stage. Okay, but now you'll see that nothing happens. I want students to, if I preview this now, everything is, let's preview this. Let's preview this so that you know what I'm talking about. If I save and display. Okay, so let's just close that and that. Okay, you'll see there's my introduction text. I'll start now. You'll see that there's my first one. Where's my second one? So you'll see it's nowhere because I haven't linked it. So I can do this now. I can go through this, through the slides, and once I'm done with that, you see nothing happens. Why? Because I didn't link the two. I need to link the two. Okay, so let's go back. So by going back, you click on settings, and we're back where we started, and I'll click on game map, and now I need to modify this. I'll click on it once and then click on the pencil icon. Remember, I have to link the two, and here under connected stage you'll see there's my introduction. I need to connect it to my introduction. So once I connect it to my introduction, click on done. You'll see what happens. There's the dotted line. So and once we're done and we set the locks, you'll see what happens. Okay, so now I can do this one, and then I need to do this one, then the third one. Let's focus on the third one. Okay, so let's go to the third option, the third mapping. Okay, so that's my third one, and this one will be just I'll just summarize or reflect. I'll call this reflect. Okay, they won't start here. I can set the time limit, I can set access restriction, but the important part is the stage content. So I'll click on stage content. I'll scroll down, and I want this to be also an image slider. Okay, remember I can choose anyone here that I want to choose from, and in a later one I'll show you how to add all these activities. Okay, so I'll choose the image slider again. Make sure that I remove that, and then remove that. And then I'll add my images. So this is a reflection stage, so I'll just reflect on, I'll just add some two slides here. I'll add my hover text, my alt text, and then I'll add another one. Okay, so it will be the second one there, and then my third one. Okay, I'll just add that. My third one there, open. Okay, so that's fine. Now you need to specify to which activity it should be linked to. Okay, so remember we've started here, then we moved on to integers content, so I need to link it to the integers content. Okay, not the introduction. If I link it to the introduction, you'll see what happens. Okay, if I go now, you'll see there it's like a triangle. Okay, so this one needs to be dragged here, and you'll immediately see that it can't be linked to the introduction also. Okay, I'll go back to this one here. I'll remove link to introduction. Let's just paste the alt text there. I'll remove that. Remember, you can add it to connected stages, but the introduction, but it won't make sense. So now you see they first need to complete 1, then 2, and then 3. Okay, now the last one. So for the last one, we'll add a quiz. Okay, so I'll use my tool here, and this will be my I'll call it my knowledge check. Okay, and this will be, I want to use a drag and drop activity for this, so I'll use the drag and drop. Okay, so I'll just specify this is my drag and drop. Now I need to add a background image for my drag and drop. So I have a background image here, so I'll just go back. There's my number line, so I'll just use my number line. So there's my background image. Okay, I can increase the size here, or I can decrease the size. Okay, so now once I've added my background image, I click on task, and it will show my background image. It's a bit distorted. If it's distorted, you can increase the size. So let's go back. Let's make this a 20 and see what it does. Nope. Let's make this also, let's make this 730. Okay, a bit better, but better. Okay, let's leave it as is, but you know you can play with the size here. Let's just make it 9. Great. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so now in this activity, so this is a knowledge check. So now that the students went through the slides or the videos that you've added, everything you've added, we do a knowledge check. And for this activity, they need to drag these integers to the number line. Okay. So for we need to create those interactive elements. Okay. The first one here is the drop zone. Okay. So what it means is that where do they need to drop the integers? I think I've added the wrong image. So let's go back. Let's go back. I'll just add the correct image here. It's this one here. Okay. Just check here. Just check. Yes, it's this one. Okay, so there's the blocks. So I want the drop zones to be these little spaces here. Okay, so I'll click on the first one. It will ask me for a label. Now my first label will be, let's say my first label is 0. Okay, you need to add a label name. So my first one is 0. Okay, I don't want to show the label. If I click this now and I click on done, you'll see that it shows the label there under as the 0. Okay, and I don't want that because I want the students to drag it. I don't want them to see the answer to the question. Okay, so I'll remove that. I'll leave the background opacity to 100. If I choose 0 and I click done, you'll see that it becomes 0 there, and it's not really, it's not really practical. You want students to actually get their drag feeling of dragging something. So I'll leave it on 100. Okay, I can show a tooltip, so I can provide a tooltip here for them. Okay, I can also display a message if they got it correct. Also incorrect, I can display a message here, but for now we'll leave that as is. So this drop zone can only contain one element. I'll leave that unchecked. Enable auto align, I'll leave that unchecked. So everything as is. I'll click on done, and now, so there's my first label. Okay, and remember it's 0, so it will be here. I can increase the size or decrease the size accordingly, but for now I'm happy with that, so that will be 0. Okay, so that's my drop zone. So I'll do all the drop zones now first, and then I'll go back and add the text. Okay, so I'll add the second drop zone. So my second drop zone will be 3. Okay, I don't have to show the label. I'll leave everything on its default. And so there's my 3. No, there's my 1, my 0, and there's my 3. Okay, I can just make it the same size as that one, so that will be my 3. My third one will be 7, so I'll go back and click the drop zone, and this will be 7. Oops, yeah, 7. I'll click on done, and then I'll drag it to my 7 there. Oops. Okay, I'll just move it a bit up. Okay, so there's my 7, and then I have -3. -3 there. Click on done. So there's my -3. Just move it up. Okay, and then I'll have my -5. So that will be my -5. Click on done, and then there's my -5. Okay, just increase the size here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I have my drop zones. So now I need to add my text. Okay, remember they can't drag this here but I want to give them, once they've dragged it, I still want them to see the integers here on the sweaters. Okay, so I'll click on text, then this will be my 0. Okay, I'll call it 0 and I'll select all. Okay, if I don't select all, if I only select 0, let's see what happens. Okay, so there's my 0. I'll just drag it here and I'll decrease the size. So I'll just decrease the size there. Okay, so I'll just eyeball it to be in the center. Okay, so now let's save this. I just want to show you what happens if I only select 0. Okay, so let's start, and now we need to go through the stages. So that's okay. Okay, we won't see it now. Let's just go back. Let's just go back and finish up. I'll just link it to the last one. So there's my final one there. Okay, and then I'll link it to, okay, I'll save it. There we go. I'll just click on that and I'll link it to reflect. Done. And now we can save it. Okay. Okay, so we'll start. The students will start. They'll start with 1. They'll see there's their integers. They can read through it. Remember, this can be a video, this can be audio, this can be another pre-test or post-test or whatever you want. Just scroll through it. Okay, that's fine. So there's the second one. The third one. Third one is some reflection here on integers and so forth. Okay, I'm done. And now it unlocks the final one. And here you'll see. Okay, so now I have my 0. So if you click on your 0 now, you'll see immediately the box is highlighted. So immediately there's an indication that this is the correct answer, and we don't want that. Okay, that's why we can't just select 0. We need to select all of them so that no block is highlighted to show the students the answer. Okay, so let's go back. I'll scroll down, go to Game Map, and I'm on my final activity. I'll click on it, edit, and there's my task. Okay, so now remember, we click on that, we edit, and we need to select all. Okay, I'll click on done. So my first one is created. I'll click on text again. My second one will be 3. So I'll click on that. I'll click on type 3 and I'll select all of them and click on done. I'll move 3 down to 3 here. Okay, and I'll just drag it. Let's make it the same size as the other one. Okay, I'll just eyeball it. Okay, yeah, it's more or less the same size. Okay, then my third one will be 7. Okay, so I'll type 7 there and I'll type 7. Done. Okay, I'll drag 7 to there. Remember, you can do this in any order as long as you make sure that it's linked to the correct drop zone, and I'll show you that now. Okay, then text, and this will be -5. So we'll specify here -5. Select all. Done. That's -5. Okay, -5 is that one there. Just decrease a bit. Okay, that's -5, and then -3, the last one. Okay, so that's -3. There's my -3. Okay, I'll just decrease the size. -3. I'll just set it. Alright, so now that we're done with the text fields, we need to make sure that we link the drop zones to the text field. So let's click on the drop zone and make sure that our first one there, it says here the label is -5. So the label there is -5 and it should be linked to -5 text, and that's correct. Okay, I'm done. The second one here is -3 and it should be linked to -3. Done. The third one here is 0, so it should be linked to 0. And then the fourth one is 3 and it should be linked to 3. And then the last one should be linked to 7. Done. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's scroll down, make sure that that's selected, and then I click on done, and then I can click on save and display just to test it. Remember, we're not done yet. I'll click on start. I'll go through the whole process again. Let's just close. Go through that one. Close. Go through that one. Close. And then go to my final one. And now I can drag. Remember, I click on it and now you'll see all of them are highlighted. Okay. So let's just drag it across. 3. There's 3. 7, there's 7, -3, there's -3, and now there's -5. I'll check. Okay, everything adds up. 5 out of 5. I can click on continue, and there's my final stage, and there's my message. Okay. So I don't know if you saw, but I made 2 deliberate mistakes here. So let's just go and fix it. Let's go to task, and then I think it was -7. So let's just go to -7. Yeah, so -7 we need to select all and done. And then I think it's -3 as well. So let's just fix that as well and select all. Okay, now we sorted. I don't know if you saw, but when I scored it incorrectly, when I showed you in the introduction video, it actually subtracts points from my total. Okay, so if you don't want that, we can fix that by clicking on behavioral settings within this activity, the drag and drop activity. Okay, so if you look at behavioral settings, you'll see there's enable retry, then give 1 point for the whole task, then apply penalties, and this is the one we need to deselect. If you don't want to apply penalties, so let's say there's an incorrect option or incorrect answer that the learners provided, and you want to penalize them, you can tick this box. But if you don't want to penalize them, you can uncheck this box. Okay. Then enable score explanation, you can check that, and then background opacity for draggables and so forth you can specify, and then the drop zone highlighted when dragging, you can highlight the drop zone, or you can never highlight the drop zone, and this is also a useful feature. And then the spacing for auto align in pixels, there's just the spacing. And then enable full screen, you can allow to enable full screen, and then show score points, show title, and that's it. Okay, so let's click on done. So now we're done with that. So we're done with the 4 stages. But as you can remember, I've showed you that we need to lock these 3 stages. We want them to start at stage 1, but stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 needs to be locked. Okay, how do we do that? Let's scroll down. So under visual settings, you'll see there's stages. So if you click on stages, you'll see the color coding of the stages, and you can change that to your liking. Then under paths, there's also color coding, and you can either check or uncheck display paths. If I uncheck that, you'll see, and if I save it, it won't show the paths, but let's leave it as is, and it's on a dark or a black color. You'll see the dots there. You can change that to another color. Let's say brown, or let's make it a bright color yellow. We'll save it now. Okay, under miscellaneous, there's animate the map. Okay. All right, so under audio settings, we can add background music as well as events for the events. When you click on a locked stage, it will provide you with music or an audio file. When you check exercises, it will play an audio file. When you check exercises for full score, it will play audio file. Unlocking a stage, it will play an audio file. Or opening an exercise, closing an exercise, showing a dialogue, full score, lost life, game over, time out, and end screen. So all of these can have audio files in it. So let's add some background music. So if you go to free audio, there's Pixabay that has free audio or free sound. Okay, so let's go to Pixabay. And we'll be looking for, let's say, for game-like audio. Okay, so there's electronic feature, password infinity, simple piano melody, etc., etc. So let's go for the first one. We can listen to it. If we want this, and if we're happy with this, we can click on download, and it will download to our computer. Okay, let's go to our activity and let's click on background music. I'll click on upload music. Remember, you can also paste the link in here, and it will be better if you paste the link in here, because if you add all these audio files, it will increase the size of your activity, and if you're on shared hosting, the activity will load slower, especially when there are more students on it. Okay, so let's go and fetch that audio file, load it. So there's my audio. I'll leave this, but you can add audio for yourself. Okay, I'll scroll down, and under behavioral settings, now you can specify, set the number of lives for your user, or leave empty for unlimited lives. Okay, so you can specify you only have one life. If you got it incorrect, that's game over for you. Okay, then enable retry, yes. Enable show solutions button, yes. Okay, and then the finish score, you can add a finish score. Okay, okay, now under map, you'll see show stage labels. Okay, under roaming, and this is important, you don't want them to roam freely. Okay, so here on the map, you don't want them to first go to stage 1 and then stage 4 and then stage 2 and then stage 3. Okay, you don't want them to roam freely. You'll click on that, and they need to complete to clear the stage. Okay, so let's click that. Okay, now the visibility becomes accessible. Select how far the user can see ahead. If you want them only to see all unlocked stages, or see only unlocked stages, okay, I'll usually leave it on see all stages, and that's about it. I'll click on save and display, and now when you click start, you'll see that one is unlocked, but the rest is locked. And here you see there's the yellow line. Okay, it's updated the yellow line. Okay, so now they need to go to this one. Okay, so now stage 2, and stage 2 is done. And then stage 3, and I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but yeah, the music is playing. Stage 3, you'll see the music stops whenever the activity is open. I can go through the activity, I'll close it, then the music starts again, and then my final stage. Okay, there's my final stage. I'll drag it, 3 and 7 and -3 and -5, and I'll check it. So let's get one incorrect. Let's just see here. I'll do that, and then I'll do that. I just want to see that the penalties that we've set. Okay, so there you see, no penalties added. It just shows 2 incorrect and 3 correct. So there, and I can retry it. -3 and -5, and I'll check. There we go. I'll click on continue, and there we go. There's my little message appearing. Okay, click on OK. Okay, so let's go to settings again, and I'll go to my map. Now you can also set an end screen. So here you'll see end screen. If you click on that, you'll see that user not successful, and you can supply a message here if the user is not successful, or you can have an image there stating that the user is not successful. Okay, so you can upload an image. Once you click on image, you click on add, and you can upload an image there that you want to upload. Okay, you can also add alternative text. If the user was successful, you can supply a message there for the user, also a video and image that will display after this user was successful. For now, let's click on save and display, and there our activity is done. I really hope this video was helpful. Please do subscribe if you haven't yet, and please give a thumbs up for my videos.